Hi, so I'm going to take you through the features of the MES Arpeggiator. First of all, it's both the standalone app and it's an AUV3 as well, which would work inside a host like AUM. I'm going to show you both options in this video. So first of all, I've opened the standalone app here. Bottom left here, we have a selection of sounds from the FM engine. So there's an FM synth embedded in standalone mode. Okay, so let's choose saw lead. Then let's choose an ARP pattern. Let's choose up, down, excluding. An ARP range of three octaves. And an ARP speed of 1/8. ARP gates of 50 and no swing. I'm going to activate the latch so that when we trigger a chord from the chord board, the chord will be held. And I'm going to open the chord board, which is one of these 7 buttons here, the one in the middle underneath the logo, the grid button, that's the chord board. And we're going to play a chord. Now what I'm going to do change the swing. So there you go, 100% swing. You can hear that, I hope. Swing off. Let's choose lead E. Let's open the chord board. Let's choose Dorian A sharp. The ARP gate is 5. Gates 100. So that's the basic controls at the bottom. And then we have the patterns here, city names. We can reset the pattern, randomize the pattern, save the pattern. So I can choose previous pattern and choose the next pattern. Then I have these 5 buttons above. In the middle, I change the color scheme. Okay, so early autumn, mini 7, mini pulse width modulation, northern lights, rainbow sorbet, and skittles. The 4 remaining black buttons and the 4 sliders above do operations on the grid. So if I reset the grid, I can basically draw a pattern like this. White squares play and black don't. I'm going to then shift the pattern horizontally like that. Shift it vertically like that, or shift the entire pattern. Okay, so those are pattern tools. We have a dot here, white dot. We can change the dot position, and then we can do things like this. We can make a vertical line, and we can reflect the pattern in the line. We can make a horizontal line. We can reflect the pattern in the horizontal line. And we can also rotate the pattern 180 degrees around the point, around the dot, okay? So that covers all of that. Here we have the Euclidean panel. If we place 1 pulse, we get 1 pulse. If we place 5 pulses, it spaces them as evenly as possible over the grid. But here we've got 16 or 12, 8, etc. I'm going to show you how you can use the MES Arp inside a host. I'm going to choose AUM for that. So I'm going to open AUM. Then I'm going to add an audio device, which is going to produce the sound, because in the MIDI plugin version of MES Arp, there's no synthesis engine. Okay, so I'm going to choose the audio unit extension. Let's choose King of FM. Okay, then I'm going to add a channel for MIDI, and we're going to choose audio unit MIDI processor, because that's what the MES Arp AUV3 is. It's processing MIDI. On its own, it doesn't make any sound. Okay, so here we have a handful of them. Let's open MES Arp AUV3, and what we're going to do now, we're going to say to King of FM, we're going to choose the arpeggiator for the input, and then In the arpeggiator, we're going to first prime 157, and we're going to choose a range of 2, so it's going to traverse 2 octaves. Arp speed, we can change it to a triplet 1/8T. We can turn the latch on. As you see, there's no way to choose an FM sound because when it's a MIDI processor, it's not producing, it doesn't have a synth engine, so it can't make its own sound, and you wouldn't want it to in this case because it's just processing MIDI. So let's trigger some MIDI from the chord board, which is how we do that if we're not using an external keyboard like the Behringer Wave. More on that later, but right now we don't have the Wave or MIDI keyboard attached. So we open the chord board, this grid button in the row of 7 above the pattern selector here. Okay, we open the chord board and we've got our 21 chord qualities. They are labelled according to the scale and the root notes. And we're just going to... Something I didn't show you in standalone mode is that we can actually loop a pattern as well. Let's open the chord board and trigger a chord again. Okay, let's say we really like the first 1.5 rows here. We can double tap the first one, double click the end of the second row, trigger the chord. And that's really all there is to it. What I'm going to do, I've got the Behringer Wave here, and I'm going to connect it up to the MES Arpeggiator. First of all, I'm opening the MES Arpeggiator in standalone mode. Okay, so first of all, we're going to turn on the Behringer Wave. So you can see it's now on, and I've got the connection from the Behringer Wave here. I'm going to literally just plug it in. I'm going to turn the arpeggiator on to one of the modes. I'm going to use prime 173, and I'm going to leave electric A, which is the default sound. And we don't need the chord board because we've got the Behringer Wave connected. I'm going to leave the latch on, and I'm going to play a chord, and I should, with a bit of luck, hear some sound. Turn the latch off. So without the latch, if I hold down the chord, it plays the chords and so on. So that's it. So in terms of connectivity, it's mega simple. It's as easy as that. It's literally just connect the keyboard with USB-C in the case of this iPhone, and then there we go. Now it also works inside AUM. So here I've opened AUM. It's going to be my host, and I'm going to add an audio. So we've got some sound. I'm going to choose King of FM. Nice little synth here. And I'm going to then add a MIDI channel. I'm going to choose an audio unit MIDI processor, which is what MES Arp is. So here it is. So I'm choosing it here. Then I'm going to set up the King of FM so that the MES Arpeggiator is feeding it. Now what we need to do is we need to check the ins and outs, MIDI ins and outs. In AUM, here's my MIDI routing. What I'm going to do, I'm going to set the Behringer Wave, which we've got and is switched on, to the MES Arpeggiator by clicking in the appropriate cell. Now I've got the wave coming into the arpeggiator, and the arpeggiator is feeding the King of FM. Let's make sure that's right. Yeah, our MES Arpeggiator is feeding King of FM synth. And now when I hold down a chord, and it's as easy as that. So they're the two options. So it works out of the box, so to speak, with both standalone app and when it's hosted inside AUM in this case, but that would work in all DAWs. all iOS stores. Okay, thanks for watching.